guys, welcome back to Reaper Speedsoft. Please ignore the heavy noise in the background. We are just moving, so yeah, things are a little crazy. So for today's video, I've got a nice surprise for you guys. It's the installation of this speed trigger that I have in there right now. How to install some new polarstar FCU wires and a new trigger board. All fairly simple stuff, and it'll be pretty easy to show you. So these I'll just install on their own because that's what I'm doing, and for this I'll show you when you would install it and how you would. Alright, now we've stripped it down to the gearbox. So what we're going to want to do now is simply open this up and then flip it over before you take off the shell. Nicely and gently take the shell off. I'm going to put these two pins inside of the shell so I don't lose them. Alright, and here's what your average polarstar gearbox will look like. And I'll take this out because we will be installing this. And I'll untune it real quickly for you guys so we can tune it up real quickly with you guys. Now, a couple difficult parts about installing these parts, like the trigger, is the safety right here. This gets in the way a lot, but it's, once you figure out how to get past it, it's fairly easy. So now I'm going to install the new trigger board. This plugs into here, doesn't matter which side it is. These are just wires, so you plug that in like so. That's in, and I just want to take your screwdriver, gently push both edges in, and then you'll feel when it clicks in. Next, you're going to want to take your trigger board out. And this piece right here I'll take out once the trigger board comes out. It'll just be easier to do it that way. Wiggle out the trigger board. Boom. So this piece here, if you're replacing a trigger board, this is what actually programs, the air to come out. So this needs to come out. And here's my old trigger board and old wires. I'm gonna put that to the side. Now it's time to put in the new stuff. So first, plug in this bad boy here. Oh, I don't want to lose that screw. Keep an eye on that. I need to get a checking table. Pieces on it. So now my new trigger board is installed. For the speed trigger, now this is a fairly simple part. I am not using a spring, and I would recommend not using a spring. It will give you the optimal sensitivity for when you are tightening it and tuning it. But if you want to use your spring, you won't be able to make it as nicely. But if you did use your spring, it would go right in there and against here. So I'm going to lift my safety up, put this side in. No, I'm talking to my YouTube audience, making a video.
Oh, okay.
So now, the reason I'm able to use this without a spring, sorry, that's it, is because this trigger board here will actually return the trigger. So this is it, untuned. You can still give it a good rate of fire here. So that's that. Now here, when I take this part up here, these wires, I'm gonna strip them over. Yeah, I'll do over. And this part goes through here. So this is what your gearbox should look like. Now I have to hold all these parts down when I'm putting this part on, because otherwise the top of the gearbox on it's not gonna work. This part is very important. I did take it out. You cannot forget to put it back in. This is what holds your stock in place. Some people, like a friend of mine, runs the stockless, so he might not need to use this. But I like using the stubby stock, so I'm going to put that in. Now you see how I did this here with the actual stock screw, whatever you want to call it. This actually keeps this in place while I'm putting the top of the gearbox on, so it's one less thing to hold down. It's is a very smart thing I came up with. I didn't see it on a video, but if someone else out there does it, I mean, sure, all kudos to you. I came up with it. You didn't steal my idea, but we're both smart. So that's that. You test the trigger, make sure it still works. So now I'm gonna screw it all on, make sure everything's working good, and then I'm gonna tune the trigger when it's not in here, because sometimes you will get, if it's inside of the gearbox, it'll be harder to tune because of your trigger guard. So I just found it a lot easier right here. Now this is also have to be very cautious with this. This is the safety. So right now my trigger won't shoot because this is the safety. So make sure that your gun is not on safety. So this is not pushed forward, this is not vertical. It's on a slight angle because that means your trigger can pull, and you will not be able to tune it if your trigger cannot pull. So I'm just going to reassemble the screws.
It's like every single wall, every single plug, every piece of plumbing, every piece of electricity.
I would personally recommend putting in these two screws first, so that
we put a nice band-aid on it, but
the bottom half of the gearbox can stay in place because they're all the movable parts and that sort of stuff. So you don't have to. I don't think it makes a difference. This is just the way that I like to do things. Now I'd only put in these two screws if you're going to tune your trigger, and just double make sure everything works out well, that your gun's shooting. So there's that. So now I have my bottom of my gearbox. The trigger's still working. Good. It's nice and light when you don't have the thing in. Like, you just kind of tap it. That's why I use it without it. So now I'm going to plug in my FCU. Like so. This angle thing, I know you go in there. Come on. Good. And then we're going to plug in a battery, and we're going to tune by ear. You can use air if you want. I wouldn't recommend using air. I'd recommend using just your battery. Let's see here. It says third. And I don't think it's supposed to say that. Oh, it's a 3-round burst, might be. So I have it on my full auto setting right now. I'll put it back on semi. It should say shots. Yeah. Nah, I guess. So when you're tuning inside the gearbox and you select your switches and keeping this in place, it's probably gonna go on full auto, so I'll just be tuning with 3-round burst, no biggie. So I'm gonna flip this up. This is probably gonna get in the way, but at least you guys can see, right? So I'll start with the forward. Now, if you watch my previous video on tuning, it'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth description of what I'm doing here. So the link to that video will be in the description. So go watch that if you want more details on this. Alright, so now my trigger's all tuned up. That's probably the best I can get it to, so now I'm going to simply unplug the battery, unplug the FCU. Now since this is on full auto, or 3-round burst in my case, select your switch to full auto, and then just reassemble the gun. guys, so here you have it. How to install and tune a speed trigger, how to install a trigger board, and how to install the FCU wires and the FCU itself. Now, keep an eye out for a gameplay of me in a giant balloon suit, which I'll be actually playing this Saturday, so I'll upload the video as soon as I can after that. And also stay tuned for a full detailed review of everything I'll put inside this gun, how much I love it. The only piece that I need to add is a new upper. It's going to be a nice red upper to match my dual tone of color. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys later, and see ya.